Welcome to Becoming Ultimate Masters. So glad you're here. We're all about helping you unlock your inner strength and potential, especially for our young adults and high school students out there, navigating this exciting but sometimes challenging journey of life.
It's a time of so much change, so much possibility. Figuring out who you are, what you believe in, what kind of impact you want to make on the world.
Exactly. And to help you along the way, we're diving deep into James Allen's book, The Life Triumphant. It's full of timeless wisdom on how to overcome obstacles and create a life, well, a life filled with purpose and joy.
You might be thinking, okay, a book from over a century ago. What could that possibly teach me about life today? But trust me, Alan's insights are surprisingly relevant. He tackles those universal questions we all grapple with. How to deal with setbacks, how to find the strength to pursue our dreams, and how to cultivate inner peace in the middle of all the chaos of life.
He starts off strong, too, with a quote that's basically a call to action. He says, "For those who will fight bravely and not yield, there is triumphant victory over all the dark things of life." Okay, so he's not sugarcoating it. Life has its dark moments, its challenges, times you might feel like giving up. But Allen is saying right from the start, that victory is possible.
And that's the key. It's about fighting bravely, not letting those challenges define you. Think about a time when you faced a major setback. Maybe you failed a test, didn't make the team, had a falling out with a friend. It's easy to get discouraged, feel like a failure, but those are the moments where your true character is tested.
He's saying those tough experiences are not something to be avoided, but actually embraced. That feels kind of counterintuitive.
It's not about seeking out suffering, of course. It's about recognizing that challenges are an inevitable part of life. And it's through overcoming those challenges that we grow, we learn, and we become stronger.
So it's like instead of asking, why me,
hmm
when something bad happens, you're asking, what can I learn from this?
Exactly. It's about shifting your perspective. And that's where Alan's emphasis on faith comes in.
He means faith in a religious sense, right?
Well, not necessarily. He's talking about a deeper kind of faith, a belief in the ultimate triumph of good, even when things seem dark. It's about trusting that there's a bigger picture, even if you can't see it in the moment.
So it's more like having faith in yourself, in your ability to overcome challenges, and in the inherent goodness of life.
That's a great way to put it. It's about believing that even when you stumble, you have the inner resources to pick yourself back up and keep moving forward.
That's a powerful message. Okay, so we've got this idea of embracing challenges and having faith in the good. But what about the qualities we need to actually navigate those challenges successfully?
That's where Alan's concept of true manliness and womanliness comes in. He challenges those traditional stereotypes that equate strength with aggression or dominance. Instead, he says, true strength lies in self-control, sincerity, and respect for others.
So it's more about inner strength than outer displays of power.
Exactly. It's about having the courage to be kind, compassionate, and empathetic, even in difficult situations. These qualities are often seen as weaknesses, especially in a world that often rewards assertiveness and competition.
But Allen is saying those qualities are actually the foundation of true strength. That's really interesting. It makes you think about the people you admire most, the ones who truly inspire you. Are they the ones who are always trying to be the loudest or most dominant in the room? Or are they the ones who lead with quiet confidence, integrity, and a genuine concern for others?
He even envisions a future where both men and women embrace these authentic strengths, fostering a society built on respect, understanding, and collaboration. He writes, I see coming upon the earth a new race of men and women, men who will be men indeed, strong, upright, noble, women who will be women indeed, gentle, truthful, pure.
Wow, that's a powerful vision. It's a reminder that we can all play a part in creating a more just and compassionate world by embodying those qualities of true strength. But how do we actually develop those qualities, especially when life throws us those curveballs?
Well, one key principle that Alan emphasizes is the power of energy and how we harness it to shape our lives.
He talks about concentrated energy as the source of both power and wisdom,
Right.
right? It's like focusing sunlight through a magnifying glass to create that powerful beam.
Exactly. It's about directing our mental and emotional energy towards our goals rather than letting it be scattered in a million different directions.
So like instead of spending hours scrolling through social media, you could channel that same energy into learning a new skill, working on a creative project, or building meaningful relationships.
That's a perfect example. It's about making conscious choices about where we invest our time and energy. Because according to Alan, the energy we spend on one thing is not available for another. He calls this the law of compensation.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. It's
Yay.
like a budget for our time and attention.
Yeah.
We have a limited amount to spend each day, so we need to be wise about how we use it.
And this leads us to another key principle that Alan emphasizes: the power of self-control. He views it as the gateway to true happiness and fulfillment.
But isn't self-control all about denying yourself things you want? That doesn't sound very fun.
Not at all. Alan doesn't see self-control as repression. It's about channeling your energy wisely, making choices that align with your values, and transforming weaknesses into strength. He says, a man is happy, wise, and great in the measure that he controls himself. He is wretched, foolish, and mean in the measure that he allows his animal nature to dominate his thoughts and actions.
So it's about mastering yourself rather than being ruled by your impulses.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that you have the power to choose how you respond to situations rather than just reacting on autopilot.
That's a really empowering idea. It makes you think about those little choices we make every day. They can either move us closer to our goals or pull us further away.
Think about it. What's one small habit you could change that would have a positive impact on your life? Maybe it's hitting the snooze button one less time each morning, choosing to study for an hour instead of binge watching that new show, or saving a few dollars each week instead of spending it on impulse purchases. Small changes, consistently applied, can lead to remarkable results.
That's a great point. It's not about being perfect. It's about making progress, one step at a time.
And that brings us to another important concept that Alan explores: simplicity and freedom.
Okay, so we've talked about mastering our inner world, our thoughts, and our emotions. But how does simplicity fit into all of this?
Well, Alan suggests that just as we can declutter our homes, to create a more peaceful and functional space, we can also declutter our minds by letting go of unnecessary desires, beliefs, and speculations that weigh us down.
It's like cleaning out your mental closet, getting rid of those outdated ideas or those negative thought patterns that are no longer serving you.
Exactly. It's about simplifying your life to focus on what truly matters. He draws inspiration from figures like Buddha, Confucius, and Jesus, each of whom emphasized the importance of living a life grounded in core virtues.
So what are some examples of things we might need to declutter from our minds?
It could be anything that's causing you stress, anxiety, or a sense of overwhelm. It could be comparing yourself to others on social media, constantly worrying about things you can't control, or chasing after fleeting pleasures that ultimately leave you feeling empty.
So it's about identifying those things that are cluttering up your mental space and making a conscious choice to let them go.
And in the process, you create space for more peace, clarity, and freedom in your life.
That makes a lot of sense. We've covered so much ground already, from embracing challenges to cultivating self-control and simplifying our lives. It's amazing how all these pieces fit together.
And we're just getting started. There's so much more to explore in Alan's The Life Triumphant. In the next part of our deep dive, we'll delve into the power of calmness, insight, and how to become masters of ourselves.
I can't wait to hear more. This is already giving me so much to think about. Don't forget to subscribe and share this deep dive with anyone who might benefit from these powerful ideas. We'll be back soon with more wisdom from James Allen.
Welcome back to our deep dive into James Allen's The Life Triumphant. In the last part, we explored the foundations of faith, courage, and self-control. We also talked about how simplifying our lives can create more space for what truly matters. Now let's talk about how to navigate those inevitable challenges with grace and wisdom.
I am all ears. Life can definitely feel like a roller coaster sometimes, with its ups and downs. How do we stay grounded and make wise choices when things get tough?
Well, Alan has a lot to say about that. He believes that cultivating calmness is essential for anyone seeking to live a fulfilling and effective life. He even calls it the crowning beauty of a virtuous character.
What does he mean by that?
Well, he uses this beautiful analogy to illustrate his point. He compares a calm mind to a still lake that perfectly reflects the sky and everything around it. On the other hand, a troubled mind is like a choppy lake. The reflection is all distorted, and it's hard to see things clearly.
I love that analogy. It makes so much sense. When you're stressed or anxious, it's like your thoughts are all jumbled up, and it's hard to think straight.
Exactly. And when you're calm and centered, you can approach challenges with a clear head and make better decisions.
So it's not about pretending the challenges don't exist.
Yeah.
Or avoiding difficult situations altogether.
Not at all. Life will always have its ups and downs. It's about learning to respond to those challenges with grace and wisdom, rather than reacting impulsively or letting your emotions run wild.
That sounds great in theory, but how do you actually stay calm when everything around you feels like it's falling apart? Any tips for our listeners?
Well, first, it's important to recognize that calmness, it isn't something you're either born with or not. It's a skill you can develop with practice.
Like a mental muscle you can strengthen over time.
Exactly. And there are many techniques that you can use to cultivate greater calmness in your life. Some people find meditation helpful, while others prefer spending time in nature or listening to calming music.
What about when you're in a really stressful situation, like taking an important test or giving a presentation in front of a group? Are there any quick tips to calm your nerves in those moments?
Deep breathing exercises, they can be really helpful in those moments. Just taking a few slow, deep breaths can help slow down your heart rate and clear your mind.
I've heard about that. You focus on your breath and let go of those anxious thoughts.
It sounds simple, but it can be incredibly effective. The key is to be proactive and find what works best for you.
That's a great reminder. We all have different things that help us feel calm and centered. Okay, so we've talked about the importance of cultivating calmness. What's the next step on this journey of self-mastery?
Alan believes that calmness, it lays the foundation for developing a powerful quality he calls insight.
Insight. What does he mean by that?
He suggests that true insight comes from self-purification and living a virtuous life. It allows us to see beyond superficial appearances and understand the deeper workings of life.
It's like you're able to see the world with a new clarity, right? You can connect the dots and understand the underlying causes and consequences of actions.
Exactly. And Alan believes that this kind of insight, well, it allows us to see the interconnectedness of all things and understand that even though evil exists in the world, ultimately good will prevail. He writes, "The world never was, is not, and will not be under the dominion of evil."
That's a powerful thought. It's a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there's always hope, always a force for good at work in the world.
And developing this kind of insight, it isn't about being naive or ignoring the problems in the world. It's about recognizing that even amidst suffering and injustice, there's a deeper truth at play, a force for good that's always pushing us towards a brighter future.
But how do we actually cultivate this kind of insight? Is it something we're just born with? Or can we develop it?
Alan believes it's something we can cultivate through self-reflection, through examining our own beliefs and actions, and through striving to live in alignment with our highest values.
So it's about being honest with ourselves about our strengths and weaknesses and constantly seeking to grow and learn.
Exactly. It's about actively engaging with life, asking questions, challenging assumptions, and seeking out sources of wisdom that can help us see the world with greater clarity and understanding.
What are some examples of sources of wisdom that we could explore?
It could be anything that expands your perspective and challenges you to think differently. Reading books, engaging in meaningful conversations with people who have different viewpoints, spending time in nature, reflecting on your experiences, all of these things can contribute to developing greater insight.
I love that. It's about being a lifelong learner, always seeking to expand your understanding of yourself and the world around you.
Now, having laid this foundation of calmness and insight, Alan, he then guides us towards a truly ambitious goal. He challenges us to become masters of ourselves.
Masters of ourselves. That sounds pretty profound. What does he mean by that?
Well, he distinguishes between two ways of being in the world. He calls them self-consciousness and divine consciousness. Self-consciousness is all about our own personal wants, worries, and needs. It's a very ego-driven way of being in the world.
It's like you're constantly focused on me, myself, and I.
Exactly. And Alan believes that this way of being leads to anxiety, suffering, and a sense of separation from others. On the other hand, divine consciousness, it's about transcending the limitations of the ego and connecting with something larger than yourself.
It's about recognizing that we're all interconnected and that our actions have an impact on others.
Precisely. It's about shifting from a mindset of scarcity and competition to one of abundance and cooperation.
So it's about moving from what's in it for me to how can I contribute to something greater than myself.
That's a great way to put it. It's about aligning your actions with your highest values and striving to make a positive impact on the world around you.
That's a powerful shift in perspective. It makes you think about what it truly means to be a master of your life.
And Alan believes that becoming masters of ourselves is the key to experiencing true happiness, fulfillment, and inner peace.
This is also inspiring, but I have to admit, it also feels a bit daunting. It's like, where do you even begin to make such a profound shift in your life?
Don't worry. Alan provides a roadmap for this journey, and that's what we'll explore in the next part of our deep dive. We'll delve into his insights on achieving true knowledge, experiencing lasting victory, and living a life that's truly triumphant.
I'm excited to hear more. This conversation is already giving me so much to think about. Don't forget to subscribe and share this episode with anyone who might benefit from Alan's wisdom. We'll be back soon to wrap up our deep dive into the Life Triumphant.
Welcome back to Becoming Ultimate Masters. We're wrapping up our deep dive into James Allen's The Life Triumphant, and wow, what a journey it's been. We've explored so many powerful ideas about how to live a life of purpose, strength, and inner peace. It's amazing how each concept we've discussed, it builds upon the last. Like we've been climbing a mountain and now we're reaching the summit, you know? That breathtaking view of the life triumphant that Allen describes.
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
So what awaits us at this summit? What's the final message Alan wants to leave us with?
He talks about achieving true knowledge and experiencing lasting victory, but he makes it clear that he's not talking about the kind of knowledge you get from textbooks or racking up wins in competitions.
So what kind of knowledge is he talking about then?
He's talking about a deep understanding of life's truths, the kind of wisdom that comes from experience, self-reflection, and consistently striving to live a virtuous life. He writes, "There is salvation for the foolish because wisdom can be acquired. There is salvation for the sinful because purity can be embraced. There is liberation for all men from the troubles and turmoil of life."
He's basically saying that it doesn't matter where you're starting from. Everyone has the potential to learn, grow, and transform their lives for the better.
That's the beauty of Allen's message. It's full of hope and possibility. He's not saying it's going to be easy, but he's assuring us that it's possible to break free from those limiting patterns, make better choices, and create a life that's truly aligned with our highest values.
And what about this idea of lasting victory? What does that look like in everyday life?
Allen describes it as a state of freedom from anxiety, grief, and remorse. It's about experiencing genuine happiness, inner peace, even amidst all those challenges that life inevitably throws our way. He compares the wise person to a skilled scholar who's, confident in their abilities.
So it's like you've mastered a subject, not just memorized the facts, but you truly understand it deeply. And that understanding, it gives you this sense of confidence and inner peace.
Exactly. And Allen believes that anyone can achieve this kind of mastery, not just in a specific field of study, but in the art of living itself.
That's such a powerful idea. It's like we've been given this roadmap to a life of purpose, meaning, and lasting happiness.
But the journey doesn't end here. Allen's The Life Triumphant is just the beginning, right? It's an invitation to continue exploring, learning, and growing throughout our lives.
So what does this all mean for our listeners, especially those young adults and high school students who are just starting out on their journeys? What one action can they take today to move closer to living this life triumphant?
I'd encourage them to reflect on all the concepts we've discussed: embracing challenges, cultivating self-control, simplifying their lives, finding calmness, seeking insight, and striving to become masters of themselves, and then choose one area where they can make a positive shift,
It doesn't have to be a huge change, right?
Absolutely not. It could be something as simple as committing to practicing more patience, or setting aside a few minutes each day for mindfulness, or just making a conscious effort to appreciate the good things in their lives. Even small steps, taken consistently, they can have a profound impact over time.
That's such an encouraging message. It's not about being perfect. It's about making progress one step at a time.
Exactly. And remember, you don't have to walk this path alone. Surround yourself with supportive people, seek out mentors, and keep exploring those sources of wisdom that resonate with you. The journey to the life triumphant is a lifelong adventure, and there's so much to discover along the way.
Thank you so much for joining us on this incredible deep dive into the Life Triumphant. We hope you've gained some valuable insights that will inspire you on your own journey to becoming an ultimate master.
And don't forget to check daily for a new episode of Becoming Ultimate Masters. If you're looking for guidance and support on your journey, you can visit www.ultimatemasters.org /coaching or WhatsApp +256-771-324-119 for more information.
We'd love for you to share this deep dive with anyone who might be blessed by this information. Let's spread this message of hope and empowerment far and wide. Thanks for listening.